Alright, we're doing something a little bit differently for this next fest, so I like to think I've gotten a little bit wiser in terms of covering these games. You're going to find the complete, unaltered, and full runs of each night of Next Fest on the secondary channel. There'll be a link to that down below, and these videos will be specifically my favorite games from each night. So, with that said, enjoy this video, and I will see you for the next one. Alright everybody, this is the last night at long last, and we are going to start things off with Chicken Journey. This is a game where, as the title implies, you play as a chicken. You have decided to try and answer that famous question, what came first? And to do that, you are going to have to do a lot of puzzle platforming and solve adorable side quests. So this is one of those games where the platforming is definitely on the, I would say, casual to maybe moderate side. If you've played any 2D platformer in a long time, then this game should be very familiar to you. One of the things I found interesting from a physics standpoint is that the chicken's momentum is augmented based on the velocity of the platform. So if you saw right there, when I jump in the same direction as the platform, it flings you a lot further, and when you jump in the opposite direction, it holds you back. Now, the only thing that I struggled with from the demo was that I could not find the final chick to move the story along. But I think this is a very delightful game. Again, may not be for the super hardcore Super Meat Boy fans, but if you're looking for a delightful platformer with a focus on puzzle solving, definitely check out Chicken Journey. We now turn to something very different, that is Saviorless. This is a 2D kind of puzzle slash action platformer. Definitely not going to be on the easy side this time. We are trapped in a mysterious area after being lured there by someone, and we're now trying to make it out. Standing in our way is going to be a variety of puzzles, monsters, and a lot of very beautiful art in this title. So the game itself focuses on you being very passive. You're not supposed to be attacking anything, just avoid and solve puzzles. Until you turn into a monster, and then you rip and tear every single living thing that gets in your way as you slash, dash, and do any kind of violence you can against the monsters. So yes, this is one of those games where it certainly goes all over the map. In terms of difficulty, this is going to be on the harder side. You only have one hit in your human form, and while you're in your monster form, your health constantly ticks down. You'll have to try and get to the transformation device, and then deal with all the enemies around you. The game features a kind of quote-unquote puzzle boss fight that is a bit on the annoying side because of this, as you'll need to dodge the enemy while avoiding any one-hit kills. If you die, you get sent back to the previous point. But if you're a fan of challenging platformers, Saviorless definitely looks like it's going to be an interesting one. I am very curious to see where this leads in terms of story and difficulty. And if you're, again, looking for a game that's going to test you both in terms of puzzle and slashing and dashing, definitely check this one out. We now go somewhere very different with Slam and Roll. This is a spiritual homage to the classic 2D arcade platformers of very long time ago. If you've played games like Bubble Bobble, Snow Bros, and even something like there are a few of those other games where you had to like pop balloons all around the world, then Slam and Roll should be very familiar to you. The story apparently is that, well, it looks like Earth is being invaded by aliens. And what are we going to do? We're going to apparently trap them in baseballs and beat them one continent at a time. This is one of those games that, by the footage you're seeing, you have already figured out, I think, whether or not this is the right game for you. It does feature 2-player co-op, and is a very interesting take on this design. With that said, I'm not sure if there is enough meat on the bones for modern audiences, but if you are looking for a modern retro arcade platformer, then I would at least give this one a check. Now up, this is Archaeogem. And this is kind of the love child between Celeste and Spelunky. We are an archaeologist going out in order to find gems, conquer perilous tombs and traps, and dash and wall jump our way to victory. So the movement tech in this one is focused on wall jumps as well as dashing. How this works is that when you hit these little flowers with your whip, they grant you one shot of a dash, which will allow you to propel yourself in any direction. Every level is full of bonus gems and MacGuffins, hidden areas, and lots of traps. The game checkpoints very regularly, and you'll be able to get back to where you've been quite easily. My main issue with this game, or two main issues. One is that the dash is very precise. Unlike Celeste, where it gives you like a little bit more leeway in terms of what directions you can go, this is very precise, and it's very easy to miss where you're supposed to go just because you didn't turn the analytic just right. The other point is that in terms of difficulty, this game is definitely aimed on the higher side of things, but from the demo that I played, it was hard to tell like what else is this game going to do that is original or different for platformer fans. If you are looking for a very challenging platform and you've already conquered games like Celeste and Spelunky and looking for a new one, then I would definitely check this one out. But if you're not a fan of very challenging and very precise platforming, then this game may not be the best one for you. Now up, we have Touhou, Hero of Ice Fairy. This is a game where, as you can tell by this scene already, that is all about bullet hell. The princess has been kidnapped, and it's up to us to rescue her from evil. And to do that, we are going to travel the countryside, meet a delightful cast of characters who all will challenge us to a bullet hell display of death and lots of colors. So if you've played any of the Touhou style games, then this one should be pretty familiar for you. Each boss is made up of different stages. You will have to dodge, dash, and blast your way through the myriad of bullets and other obstacles coming to get you. Before each stage, you can equip various items and spells that will give you different properties and enhance what you can do. But this is all about dodging. You'll need to avoid all the attacks that are coming at you and make your way through each one of the stages of the boss. This would be, I would say, on the harder side. I don't know if there's going to be different difficulty settings in the main game, but this is one of those games that, again, if you're not good at the whole Touhou bullet hell shmup kind of thing, then this game may not be the best one for you. But for me, I really enjoyed this one. The colors are very bright, I like the charm of the aesthetics, and this one certainly has lots and lots of bite in order to challenge fans of Touhou. And if you're looking for one of those games to test your own skills, I would definitely recommend this one. We now slow things down for Flateye. This is a shop simulator meets god game meets choose your own adventure with a very brutal, realistic touch to everything. And that is certainly a lot going on there. We are the representative of a company that specializes in all the future important devices and technologies, such as memory erasing, easy organ selling, smart toilets, and a lot more. We have been tasked by the CEO and sentient AI to run one of our store/hubs, and none of that should sound any concerning at all for people who've looked at anything sci-fi in the past 30 years. But the game certainly has a very interesting premise to it. You will unlock additional services and objects, which you will then have to set up, make sure they are powered, and manage your clerk to keep them happy and well rested so they do all the work for you. The game hints at some very dark undertones, and I'm very curious to see where this all leads. With that said, my main concern from this demo is that I'm not sure just how much, control you really have. As the demo itself was presented with just very set goals for you to achieve. I'm hoping there's like a little bit more varying gameplay or more decision making on the player's part in the finished title. But if you're looking for a kind of shop simulator, almost like a theme park, theme hospital like with a little bit more of a darker edge to it, then I would definitely check this one out. With that said, we're going to take a quick break, and we have a few more games for this showcase. Before we get to that, as always, if you're interested in my thoughts on design, then check out my game design books. For entry-level students, we have 20 Essential Games to Study, and then the Game Design Deep Dive series that takes an extensive look at different genres, with more coming soon. We now have Manor Lords. This is a very, very in-depth city builder set around the medieval age. Your job is to cultivate the land, build estates and homes for your peasants and elites, and keep everyone, of course, happy, fed, and not stabbed by a sword. So this game is definitely going all in on the city building aspects of it. You'll be managing your people via the road system. Buildings and essential services must be connected to the main road via, of course, the myriad of paths you'll set up. Everything moves kind of in real time, as if you set yourself very far apart, don't be surprised if it takes your transportation oxes a long time to get there. You'll set up plots of land that will be used to have people or to set up settlements. If you give them enough space, you can also let them be expanded to have additional farms and features that will aid you. This is definitely one of those titles that it is certainly going for a lot in terms of its city building. Eventually you'll be able to raise armies, conquer nearby settlements and territory, and build there as well. If you're looking for, I would say, an easy to learn city builder, Manor Lords is probably not going to be the game for you. This is a game for people who love stuff like the Anno series, Children of the Nile, very advanced city building. And I am definitely interested to see what this game has in store, and if it will be possible for me to actually build and get a fully furnished castle up. So if you are a fan of city building looking for a new, very challenging and involved one to play, I would highly recommend checking out Manor Lords. We now turn to The Pale Beyond. This is a very narrative-focused, story-driven adventure game. We play as the first mate on a ship that is trying to find a missing vessel on an expedition. Unfortunately, our captain has mysteriously disappeared, we are trapped in the ice, and we are going to have to take control. So this is not a game about happy and easy to make choices. Each week, you are going to have to decide how much food everyone gets, the fuel, as well as what areas of the ice you explore, for people, resources, and more. Every character on your ship is a unique individual with their own personality, traits, and no matter what you do, you're going to end up probably pissing off a few of them. Your job, of course, is to keep things going for as long as you can, and maybe try and find that missing ship, or just get everyone out alive. If you're hoping for bare-knuckle action and high reflex-driven games, The Pale Beyond is not going to be for you. But if you're looking for a very well-told story where there is no good decision, and no matter what, things are going to become worse and worse for you, then I would definitely check out this game. Now we have One Many Nobody. This is an action puzzle style platformer. It is the far future, and we are trapped in a mysterious facility that is trying to solve the energy problem. It turns out there are tons and tons of cloning devices around, and in order to solve things, we are going to have to clone, kill, and other things to ourselves in order to make it through each level. All the stages in this game are handmade, and you will have to explore the different paths and sections of the facility in order to find the necessary keys and deep, disturbing story as to what is going on. This is a game I enjoyed. The puzzles are interesting enough, and it is definitely more focused on kind of the action platformer side of things. I'm curious to see where the puzzle complexity grows in terms of additional interactables and stuff like that. And if you are a fan of kind of puzzle platforming, I would definitely check this one out. And at long last, we're at the final game of our showcase. This is Scorchlands. And what we have here is a very interesting mix of designs. From the surface, this is, well, if we combine Factorio with Civilization, our mission is to use magic and technology in order to cultivate and tame the land. Everything that you build in this game is instant. There is no kind of on-time or consistent building. You put a building down, it gives you resources. You build a structure that will mine or refine those resources, they will go down. Your mission is to continually build different colonies up, gathering and harvesting their resources to then refine into additional things. As you are doing this, you'll be able to construct many different colonies as you move around the map, and unlike other city builders or logistic style games, you transport goods via lasers. You set up laser terminals that will move goods from one section to another, and you can fling mirrors outside of each colony to set up an entire laser bouncing grid of logistics. As you play, you'll unlock and be able to build additional biomes with their own resources, which you will then collect, refine, that will push you further. There's even a kind of quasi-combat puzzle in this game, where you'll position troops around enemies in order to defeat them. And you have to make sure that the characters are all like kind of touching each other in order to provide defense and health bonuses. This is certainly a game that is kind of doing a whole lot in terms of its city building and logistics, and I really enjoyed this one. I'm not quite sure if this is the best game for newcomers to either city builders, 4X, or logistic style games, but if you're a fan of stuff like Factorio, Dyson Sphere, and so on, and you're looking for a very different take on that kind of design, then I highly recommend Scorchlands, and I'm really curious to see where this game goes in the finished version. But with that said, we're going to finally wrap things up for Next Fest of 2022. Thank you so much for watching. Do all that liking, subscribing, and commenting. Let me tickle your game for a future stream and video. Please get in touch. Check out the Discord and Patreon, and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.